John Mugabi is a Ugandan former professional boxer who competed from 1980 to 1991, and 1996 to 1999. He held the WBC super-welterweight title from 1989 to 1990, and challenged twice for world titles at middleweight, including the undisputed championship. Mugabi was part of an exceptionally talented group of light middleweights and middleweights during a golden era of the 1980s, which included Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Wilfred Benítez, Davey Moore, and Roberto Durán. As an amateur, Mugabi won a silver medal in the welterweight division at the 1980 Summer Olympics, and was the only medalist for Uganda at the event. He is listed number 38 on Ring magazine's list of 100 greatest punchers of all time. Representing Uganda, Mugabi was the silver medalist at the 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow, boxing in the welterweight class. Mugabi lost to Andrés Aldama of Cuba in the final. He was also a silver medalist at the 1976 Junior World Championships, losing to Harold Graham in the final. Additionally, Mugabi won a bronze medal at the 1978 All-Africa Games in the light welterweight division. John Mugabi started as a professional on December 5, 1980, by knocking out Emir Karadenis in round 1 in Cologne. Soon after that win, Mugabi moved to London, where he became acquainted with boxing promoter Mickey Duff, an expert in boxer marketing who landed Mugabi various fights in England, and built his reputation there. Mugabi won 8 fights in Europe. Searching for more formidable foes, John moved to Florida, where he became a favorite of American TV networks with his sensational knockouts of contenders such as Curtis Ramsey, Gary Guidon, former world champion Eddie Gazzo, Curtis Parker, Frank the Animal Fletcher, Nino Gonzalez, and Earl Hargrove through a display of tenacity and ferociousness. The Beast, as he would become known, for his ferocious attacks and untamable style. Bashing his prey with overhand rights and wild left hooks, was able to fluctuate his weight between middleweight and junior middleweight. Some people lose effectiveness by changing weight classes, but not Mugabi. He was able to knock out every opponent he faced to that point of his career. Mugabi's first victory of note came on May 2, 1982, when he took on veteran Curtis Ramsey. It was Mugabi's 11th bout, and he took care of the American in 2 rounds in Atlantic City, New Jersey. 1983 was a busy calendar year for the Beast. In that year he took on Gary Guidon, who had just come off of a championship fight against Davey Moore. Mugabi stopped him in 3. Many started speculating about Mugabi's role in the future of the junior middleweight and middleweight divisions. The fact Mugabi easily made the weight at both divisions made him more intriguing than most prospects. Nicaraguan Eddie Gazzo, a former WBA junior middleweight champion, provided Mugabi with his first real test. Gazzo went rounds with Mugabi, but the Beast ended things the way he always did. Mugabi was simply stronger and faster, tactically overwhelming the busier Gazzo. In the same year, Mugabi took on Curtis Parker, a former Pennsylvania Golden Gloves amateur champion. The meeting with Curtis Parker was on national television. Parker was an established fighter, but Mugabi's destruction of Parker was savage. It was the first time that Parker had lost a bout by knockout. In February 1984, Mugabi's ability to take adversity was tested by James "Hard Rock" Green. Mugabi slowly took control of the fight until it was stopped in the 10th round, with Mugabi declared the winner by technical knockout. The bout between the Beast and Frank the Animal Fletcher marked a quiet maturity that marked Mugabi's transformation from being what had been dubbed a banger with raw power to a refined tactical boxer. The Beast hurt his prey, gently testing with his jabs, and then in the 4th round a couple of roundhouse punches and a haymaker traveling all the way from his waist caught Fletcher asleep. The fight ended with Fletcher's body between the ropes, on his way to becoming the number 1 contender for the middleweight title of each of the 3 major sanctioning bodies, WBA, WBC, and IBF. Mugabi ran roughshod over the division, and finished each of his opponents inside the distance. Mugabi's ferocity was captured by Phil Berger. Writing in the New York Times in 1986, Berger, commenting on Mugabi's preparation for the Hagler fight, noted the intensity of preparation that left his sparring partners in a woebegone condition, and further that some did not last long enough to draw their second paycheck, and left Mugabi's training camp looking like extras from Night of the Living Dead. Because of his ability to fight both at junior middleweight and middleweight, fans began to talk about the possibility of him challenging either world light middleweight champion Hearns or world middleweight champion Hagler. Despite Mugabi being a mandatory contender for some time, a Hearns-Mugabi title match never materialized, as Hearns elected to move to middleweight to challenge marvelous Marvin Hagler. Considering his streak, and Hagler's tough battle with Hearns on April 15, 1985, some felt Mugabi had a shot at doing what 11 men before him could not, wresting Hagler's undisputed world middleweight title from him. On March 10, 1986, Marvin "Marvelous" Hagler rose to a very stiff challenge. A young, undefeated powerhouse was destroying every opponent in his path. John the Beast Mugabi had won all of his contests by knockout. Many spectacular, many in the first few rounds of the fight. He possessed incredible knockout power, and provided the boxing world with an epic encounter. The fight was the first televised by Showtime. Mugabi landed his share of blows to Hagler's head during the early rounds. The turning point came in the 6th round when Hagler landed many heavy blows, and staggered Mugabi. Mugabi fought back gamely, but his early knockout wins left him ill-prepared for a long, tough fight. In the end, it was Hagler who came out the victor, with a knockout in the 11th round. Many boxing fans consider this to have been the toughest contest of Hagler's career. Sugar Ray Leonard's decision to come out of retirement, and challenge Hagler for the middleweight championship was heavily influenced by Hagler's performance in the Mugabi fight. After his first loss, Mugabi retired to Uganda, and ballooned in weight to 190 pounds. In September 1986 he contacted Mickey Duff, stating that he was ready to fight again. Mugabi went down in weight, and was given an opportunity by the WBC to win their world light middleweight title, vacated by Hearns. Once again many fans favored him, this time against Wayne Thomas, on December 5 of '86. However, Mugabi suffered a broken eye socket, the consequence of a punch in round 3, and the fight had to be stopped. Mugabi underwent optical surgery the next day to repair his injury. Discouraged by 2 consecutive losses, Mugabi gained weight, and did not fight for nearly 14 months. In January 1988, he came back to fight Brian Grant on the undercard of Mike Tyson's title defense against Larry Holmes. Mugabi won by quick knockout, and set off on another knockout winning streak. He became #1 contender for the WBC 154-pound title in August 1988 but could not land a fight with then-champion Donald Curry. After Curry lost his title in an upset in early 1989, Mugabi was given another opportunity to become world champion by the WBC. On July 8 of that year, Mugabi finally made his dream come true, when Curry's successor René Jacot could not continue the fight due to an injury in round 1 in Grenoble to become the WBC light middleweight champion. After 2 first-round knockout wins against Ricky Stackhouse, and Carlos Antunes, Mugabi, who by this time was having difficulty making the weight limit of 154 pounds, put his title on the line against Terry Norris. When Norris downed the champion for the count with a right to the jaw, Mugabi received the dubious distinction as the second fighter, after Al Singer, to both win, and lose a world title by the first-round knockout when he was defeated by Norris. Showing resilience, Mugabi resurfaced with 2 more wins, and once again found himself fighting for a world title, facing Gerald McClellan on November 20, 1991, in London for the vacant WBO middleweight championship. Mugabi looked a shadow of his former self by this time, and once again came out on the losing end, again by a first-round knockout. Mugabi took a 5-year layoff in which he moved to Australia. In 1996, he came back for the first of an 8-fight comeback. He went on to claim the Australian middleweight championship by way of a 12th-round decision over Jamie Wallace. It only took John 2 fights before he was in line for a world title again. In his 3rd fight back from the loss to Norris, Mugabi would challenge Glenn Kelly. That November night in 1999 marked the decline of Mugabi's illustrious boxing career as he was again knocked out in the 8th round. Mugabi resides in Australia where among other functions he trains fighters. When Mugabi finally retired, he had a record of 42 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw, 39 wins by knockout. His 25-fight knockout win streak stands as one of the longest knockout streaks ever in boxing. Currently, Mugabi is working on his biography as well as a documentary. The themes of the project revolve around 3 spectrums: his journey, his glory, and his determination to advocate the welfare of elite boxers. His biggest single concern is the need for emerging boxing talent to have a training program that goes beyond the gym to encompass learning a trade/profession as they pursue their dreams of boxing glory. After all, a boxer at any time can lose their livelihood through a single punch or a training accident with no fallback. No pension, no savings, no nothing. He has started his advocacy with himself. Mugabi is currently a student determined to gain what he may have lost in an illustrious boxing career: fulfillment outside the ring. Mugabi has a 20-year-old daughter, Mildred Prudence Mugabi, who lives in Tampa, Florida, and he has another daughter who still resides in Kampala, Uganda, named Marine Basemura Mugabi. Mugabi has a professional record of 50 fights, with 42 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw.